Recently, I asked my mailing list, what's the #1 thing holding you back with lead guitar playing? And after reading through all of the responses, it became clear to me that there were 3 main lead guitar ruts that my students were facing. So in this video, I'm going to break down each of those 3 common intermediate roadblocks, and more importantly, show you how to get past them so that you can stop spinning your wheels and finally make noticeable progress with your lead playing once again, even if you've been stuck for decades. Let's start with guitarist #1, the scale spammer. This player knows a bunch of patterns for the major and minor pentatonic scales, but when it comes time to improvise, they just sound like they're practicing patterns over a backing track. If that hits a little too close to home, don't worry, because every intermediate guitarist gets stuck here at some point, and the solution is actually more simple than you'd think. Instead of drilling the same old patterns you already know, or chasing some new exotic scale that you think will magically fix your lead playing, what you actually need is to relearn the scales that you thought you already knew, just on a deeper level. Take the Aeolian mode. It's a 7-note scale. Now, most players will look up Aeolian scale patterns online, they'll memorize the shapes, and then they'll think, okay, I'm done. And yeah, memorizing the shapes is useful, but without understanding how the scale is built or how it relates to chords, your solos are always going to sound like guesswork. Now, this is where intentional soloing comes in. That means knowing the harmony that you're playing over, knowing the chords, and choosing notes that bring those chords to life in your solo, even without a backing track. If you're doing it right, a listener should be able to hear the chord changes through your solo, even if there's no rhythm section. Here's an example. I'm going to show you a line that's played over the final 4 bars of an A minor blues. E minor 7, D minor 7, and A minor 7. Here's what it goes like. Now, listen to that same line again, this time without the backing track. You can still hear the chords moving. There's no bass line, no rhythm guitar, and I'm not strumming any chords, but I'm clearly not just noodling through Aeolian scale shapes either. So what makes that work? How are you able to hear the chords through my note choices? Well, the answer to that question is arpeggios. Those 3 chords, E minor 7, D minor 7, and A minor 7, are all built from the A Aeolian scale. So naturally, if I target the notes inside each chord as and when they appear, it's going to sound good, right? But here's the key. I'm not visualizing big bar chord shapes like this and trying to solo by playing through them, because that would sound quite awkward. Instead, I'm using arpeggio shapes, smaller, more melodic versions of those chords that are actually comfortable to play in a solo, like this. Those arpeggio shapes have the same chord tones as these chord voicings. The difference is the chord tones are laid out in a way on the fretboard that is more comfortable for lead playing. And the best part is that these arpeggios already exist inside the scale shapes you've memorized. So you're not adding anything, you're just looking closer to see what's already there, right? That is how you break out of the scale spammer rut, by going deeper than visual patterns and finally understanding how to use them musically. Let's listen to that lick a couple more times. I'll put the tab and the fretboard diagrams on screen to help you get those arpeggio shapes under your fingers. Now, just a heads up, everything I'm showing you today is taken straight from my upcoming course, 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery. This is the most in-depth lead guitar course I've ever made. If you have played guitar on and off for decades, but You can't remember the last time you made noticeable progress with your soloing, this curriculum will fix that for you. Because the focus is on just the 20% of soloing concepts that unlock 80% of progress for the vast majority of guitar players. That means no fluff, no master all 7 modes nonsense. Instead, you'll focus on just the 4 major scale modes that you'll actually use for 99% of your solos. And more importantly, you'll learn how to combine them with pentatonics, arpeggios, and triads to make your solos sound like music, not exercises. The pre-sale, it opens this month, and if you want early access plus a big discount, just click the link in the description box beneath the video. You'll answer one quick question about your current lead guitar rut, and then you can join the waitlist. Now let's move on to the next type of stuck in a rut lead guitarist, the one box wonder. One of the most common soloing ruts I see with lost intermediates is this. They lean way too heavily on position 1 of the minor pentatonic. It's their safe zone, their home base, right? But the second they try to step outside of it, boom, they hit a bum note, they panic, and they retreat to the comfort zone that is position 1. And that's the cycle that so many lost intermediate guitarists get stuck in forever. They are chained to box 1, they're afraid to leave it, and just unsure of how to break out. So the fix is actually exactly what you would expect. It's not that complicated, but very few actually commit to it. You need to spend time in the other 4 positions of the minor pentatonic, right? And more importantly, you need to practice flowing between them, not just camping out in one for an entire solo. So here's a line to help you get started. It's going to help you to move fluidly across multiple pentatonic positions, and it doesn't even touch position 1. So we're in A minor, and here are the positions I'm visualizing. Position 1, position 3, and position 2. So I start out in position 4 with this phrase, and then I play this line that has me sliding down into position 3. Next, I drop into position 2, and I play this run that has me sliding into a bend on the B string in position 3. So I'm moving from 2 to 3 within this one scale run. And then I wrap it up with this phrase right here in position 3. Okay, so let me run through that one more time. Starting out in position 4 with this. About to move down to position 3. That's position 3 right there. Then we move down to position 2. Slide up to position 3 and finish with this. Now, you might have noticed a green note on the diagram that isn't part of the minor pentatonic. This note right here at fret 12 on the B string. That is a natural second, and it's coming from the A Aeolian scale, aka the natural minor scale. Think of the minor pentatonic as the 5-note sibling of Aeolian, which has 7 notes, right? Pentatonic gives you the root, flat 3rd, 4th, 5th, and flat 7th. Aeolian has all those same scale degrees plus the natural 2nd and flat 6th. So when I solo in a minor key, I use the minor pentatonic as my framework, right? But I also stay aware of those 2 extra notes from Aeolian. And adding them in occasionally, it will give your lines a bit more color and melodic depth when needed. And that's what I did there. That was mostly a pentatonic line, right? But that single Aeolian note added to it, that natural second, just added more depth to it, made it sound more interesting. So if you want to break out of the one box wonder rut, spend time learning licks and solos that have you moving between the 5 pentatonic positions. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll miss notes when improvising. You'll want to run back to position 1, but you've got to push through that awkward stage. That's where the growth is. So inside 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery, I've packed in loads of solos and exercises just like this, showing you how to blend pentatonic positions with Aeolian for maximum feel and melody. If you're ready to break out of that box and finally play across the whole fretboard with confidence, you can join the waitlist today by clicking the link beneath this video. Now, onto the next rut, and this one is huge. The Chord Clueless Guitarist. If you have ever typed A minor backing track into YouTube and started shredding A minor pentatonic licks over that backing track, only to feel like your solo didn't really gel with the music, you're not alone. Lots of lost intermediate guitarists fall into this trap. And the reason it doesn't feel like your solo gels with the music is because you're only thinking about soloing in key, not in key and over the progression. I talked earlier about using arpeggios to hit the notes of the chords in real time. But before you can do that, you need to know a couple of things. You need to know what are the chords in the progression and how long does each chord last for. That way, you can target the right arpeggios, triads, the right chord tones at the right moments and actually bring out the harmony in your solo. Here's the progression I've been using today, a minor blues in A minor. So it starts out with 4 bars of A minor 7, then 2 bars of D minor 7, then it goes back to A minor 7 for 2 bars. We've got 1 bar of E minor 7, 1 bar of D minor 7, 1 bar of A minor 7, and 1 bar of E7 sharp 9. Okay, so a 12 bar progression, and that is the structure. So before you even start soloing, a great warm-up is to strum through the chords of the progression in the track a few times so that you can internalize the structure. And I want to do this together with you now. So everything we've talked about today, going deeper with the scales you already know, making your phrasing more melodic, outlining chord changes, and getting out of that position 1 rut, it's all covered in detail inside 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery. The pre-sale will go live this month, and if you want early access plus a big discount, just click the link in the description box, answer one quick question about your lead guitar playing rut, and you'll be the first to know when it goes live.